What is up, world? You are in tune to the KnoItAllz podcast, and today we have a special guest with us. We got Miss Damu Mitchell, Damu Cherry Mitchell, and definitely we're going to be talking the Olympics. We're going to be talking sports. She's here. She's a sports nut, just like we are. We're going to talk every phase, basically. We're going to talk a little tennis. We're going to talk some swimming. We're going to get into it. Definitely, we got your usual suspects. Big G, what's up with it, man? How you doing?
What's cracking lacking, y'all? Know-it-all crew, what's happening?
Yeah, man. And then also we have Tate with us. What's up, Tate? How you doing today, man?
What's up, Ma? What's up, Big G? What's up, Damu, and all the know-it-all listeners?
Hey, look, man, we're about to get into it, but before we do, let's get into this. And as always, man, you got us here, your boys here on a Sunday afternoon. Like I said, we have a special guest with us today, Miss Damu. And Miss Damu, so I want to introduce you a bit, and you just kind of elaborate on that, man. Well, you know what? I'm going to let you do that. Tell the world who we are, and tell the world who you are.
My name is Damu Cherry Mitchell. I am a wife, a mother. I am a 2008 Olympian. I don't know what else to go with there. I've lived my whole life for sports. I mean, I've been in sports since I was 6 years old, and I did from gymnastics to dance to gymnastics was the longest sport I did, and then I started running track when I was 16 years old in high school, which is late for most track and field athletes. But I was able to build a career with that and make it to a world championship and Olympic teams as well.
That's dope. Like, I mean, just to expound, like I said, she said she's from South Florida. She definitely went to South Florida University. Her personal best time is 12.44 in the 100-meter hurdles. That's fast. If y'all don't know, that's fast. First of all, she went 100 meters jumping over stuff at 12. Man, that's 12 seconds. That's fast. That's faster than that's everybody on this show except her. And faster than most of the fellas out there.
Man, I can run at 12.44.
Man, you can't run a 12.40 right now.
You probably right. You probably right.
Well, let's put it this way. It took me some years to get there. My first time ever running hurdles was 14 seconds, to be clear. So we had a big drops to make. It took years.
Well, I mean, it's definitely one of those things that is an accomplishment, and it's not many people in the world that's doing that. I mean, just it is what it is. Not many people in the world is doing that. We have people who are watching the broadcast, who have some smart questions like, do you jump over hurdles or do you glide over hurdles? Which one is it? And I'm like, okay, so we don't need to talk about that. But the questions I'm going to get into first are about you, and then we'll talk about the Olympics in general. So being an Olympian, what was it like? Describe that whole the feelings, the emotions, everything that went into you being a part of the Olympics in 2008, correct?
Yes. Well, for me, like I said, I started running track really late because I swore in my right mind, I love me some Dominique Dawes, that I was going to be following in her footsteps and I was going to be this Olympic gymnast. Back then, coaches, now there's rules where you're not allowed to say certain things. My coaches were great. It was like other people outside of the sport that would say, hey, you're a little tall. You're going through puberty. You don't look like the gymnast that, back then. Now Simone Biles and Gabby and all that, they have changed the whole thing. But back then it was like, you don't look the part. So, you had a great career. It's time to move on. So I did move on, and I started running track, and my dad was just like, look, you can stop gymnastics, but no matter what, you got to go ahead and you got to do something. You're not going to go home every day after school and just sit down and chase out the boys. We're not doing that. I said, okay, well, I don't want to run. I don't want to do nothing else. I said, well, I'm just going to run track, and I'm going to run hurdles because the hurdles remind me of gymnastics. It's like doing split leaps over the hurdles. I was wrong, dead wrong. And I found the track coach my sophomore year at Lateville High School. I found the track coach, and I was like, hey, coach, I want to be on the track team. I want to run hurdles. He goes, nobody begs me to run hurdles. You're on the team. So he never saw me run. He's like, nobody begs to run hurdles. You're the first person to ever ask. And I'm like, how hard can it be? And he said, I don't know anything about hurdles. Like, basically, he helped me, gave me pointers, but I really taught myself how to hurdle, which wasn't always good because I developed really bad technique. But one thing about me is I'm very driven and I'm very motivated. And I was like, no matter what, I'm going to do what I need to do and I'm going to win. So long story short, I ran in high school, did very well, undefeated high school. I won pretty much every race until state. And that's when reality check, when the girls from up north showed me that you ain't been running long enough. And I got state or the nationals and I got like third. And I was like, I got beat. Oh my gosh, I'm not that good. But it was good for me to lose on that high level because I realized you're good for Tampa, but you're not elite on a national level or a Florida State level. You're good, but you ain't that good. So it was a reality check for me. But I did end up getting a full ride to go to University of South Florida. I wanted to be a Gator really bad, so I was going to walk on Florida Gators track team. But at the end of the day, once USF offered me more money, it was kind of like the Gators didn't offer me money. I had academic money, but not track money. My parents were like, "You going to free school?" So
absolutely. One we don't have to pay for.
College for free. But it was a great experience. It was still D1. I still got to race the top girls in the country. So I knew where I needed to be. And I wasn't there still. I made it to NCAAs, but I never made it out of NCAA final. I was a semifinalist. But I still had this crazy goal. I could be an Olympian. And that's where I met my husband. He came to the track a couple times, Dennis Mitchell, and he was like, you could be good, but basically said you're fat. I was like, I don't like you.
Dennis called you fat?
His exact words to me, like, you are good for everyday life, but you don't. He goes, I want you to go watch some videos on TV. Do you look like those girls? And I did it. He was right. I had to lose weight. He's like, you good for the club, but you ain't good to be an elite athlete. And I didn't like him because no one's ever said that to me out loud.
Yeah.
You know, but it's what I needed to hear. And then from there, I was like, oh, you want to coach me? He was like, no, but yeah, I could coach you. I was like, whatever. So he ended up coaching me. And long story short, fast forward, I made it to the Olympics. I mean, it's a long story. I made it. And it was a rough road. It was a lot of tears, a lot of crying, because when you say you're that crazy to say, I want to go to the Olympics, you really don't understand what goes into it until you have to live it. When you can't eat what you want, you can't go out, you can't go to your family dinners, you have to miss Christmas dinners, you have to miss all the things that society says you're supposed to do to be great. And I did those things. I sacrificed good, maybe decade of my life.
Wow.
Become an Olympian.
Wow. I think that's eye-opening into a fact and to a point, because you don't just Forrest Gump your way into being an Olympian. That just doesn't happen. You just don't fall into that. Oh, look, I'm an Olympian. No, I think a lot of people, when you start thinking about that, they don't know the type of work and commitment that it takes, to actually be an Olympian. Sean, I know you had a question for Damu. Go ahead with it.
Yeah, it's really a two-parted question. The first part of it is, because of the current climate of what's going on with the Olympics and all whatever else, at this time, when you went through in 2008, now there's new Olympians that's sort of standing on your shoulders. But I wanted to know what it felt like standing on the shoulders of like Jackie Joyner-Kersee, Wilma Rudolph, Marion Jones, and even Alice Coachman, who was the first African-American female to ever win an Olympic gold, for you to show up in Beijing and what that felt like.
Oh, for me, all of them are special. Don't get me wrong. But the reason I started running track was Gail Devers. And you remember her?
Yes, ma'am.
I remember, I think I was 16 at the time, or I don't remember. Was it 92? No, it was 96, Atlanta. I was in high school. And I remember watching her run, and she fell at the finish line, won the 100 meters. And I looked at my mom. I said, Mom, I want to run hurdles. I want to be like Gail Devers. And she says, well, go do it. I was like, I think she just said it kind of like, okay, Damu, go do it. But I don't know if she really thought I was really going to do it. But I don't know what she thought. But it was so crazy. The day I knew I made it was the day I was at national championships, and I was lined up to the person whose posters I had on my wall. I was in lane 5 and she was in lane 4. Yes, Jackie Joyner, all of them, amazing athletes. But Gail, something about her, I don't know what it was. And even to this day, we're good friends, which is crazy. How do you become friends with your rival or your person you look up to? How does that happen? And so she's actually was really, really great. She told me, you have a great future ahead of you. She beat the crap out of me. But she was like, you have a great future ahead of you. She goes, stick with it. But I mean, what are the odds that you can be in a national championships next to the person you idolized your whole life? Wow. And I was running through the mall at USF when she was signing autographs, and I ran for her to sign my sports bra after practice. I was like, please, I still have that sports bra to this day.
Right.
So it was because of her, like, we can do it. And it's like that Black girl magic too. Like, we can be something, we can be great. And I don't think she realized that. Even Jackie, all of them, Flo Joes, you name it. They don't realize like the inspiration that they gave me to believe that I could do something big. Yeah.
And so that's a great answer, because that's what I was looking for to talk to kids, right now. Because a lot, just like Ma said, a lot of kids don't realize what it takes to actually be the best of the best and be considered elite, because that's what an Olympic athlete is, So great information for those young people that are watching our show. My second question was, could you talk a little bit about your transition from the Olympic and professional level and going back to like what's called everyday living and everyday life? Because a lot of young people think, once I make it big and I run track for, X amount of time, or I'm a professional athlete for the rest of a certain amount of time, then for the rest of the life, I'm set. And they don't realize like what happens, and I just want you to talk a little bit about that transition.
Well, from my experience, I wasn't a 100-meter sprinter. I made good money, yes, but I wasn't the 100-meter guys, 100-meter women. That's where the money's at. And then you have your hurdlers, but we can make a living. I made a good living. I mean, honestly, I used to tell people I jump over sticks for a living. Literally, that's what I did every day. And it's crazy to think of it that way, but literally you could run 12 seconds and you you call your agent, look, I need to make 10 grand, and you go run those hurdles and you make that 10, 20 grand, whatever you need to do, plus bonuses, whatever. So when you get into reality of real life, when it's over and you're like, oh, I need to get a job now and work somewhere. And they're like, oh, you get paid this for working this many hours. I said, you want me to do what? I was depressed. I'm not going to lie. And the thing that saved me was that me and my husband, I was his first Olympian. So from there, we decided we helped high school kids. So while I was training, we trained a lot of high school kids, and we helped them get full rides in track and field so that we could give kids the opportunity. The only reason that we stopped was once he became he's the best coach in the world. I'm just going to throw it out there. In the world, he had to narrow his focus down. So now he just coaches strictly professionals. So from there, we decided that we're going to teach them what we did, what we were told, but we weren't given the tools. So we don't get in their business, but we look, there's financial advisor over here. You need an encore career. You're not going to be able to run forever. I know you're in your 20s or you're 25. You think this is going to last forever. What if you get an injury? We're like, you need disability insurance. You need all of these things. So we try to tell our athletes about it, and then we walk away, because at the end of the day, they do have their own agents and stuff. And I wish I had somebody telling me that. My mom was, but it's mom. She's like, oh, you got to pay taxes. Oh, yeah, Mom, I know that. You're like, whatever, I'm going to go buy me a new car. Okay, Mom. But it's different when it's coming from someone that's not your mom and dad, right? Yeah. So I learned the hard way, and I didn't do right things. I'm going to be honest with you guys. And it was like when I finished, I didn't have a wealth of money. The thing that helped me was that transition is knowing, me staying in the sport, to be honest, because there's a depression aspect that goes into it. Where you're you get up every morning, you eat your breakfast, you go to the track, you train, you get your massages, you come home, and you just repeat that cycle for years and years and years. And then it's it's over. And I was just like, so what am I supposed to do now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, you know what you said is just really, it's so powerful because there's so many probably young people that's going to tune in and watch this and listen to this. And you just gave them a lifetime of knowledge in like 2 minutes. So, you know, I mean, that's like some serious stuff because there's so many children, young people and young adults that I see that just can't transition. You know, they know when they're good in high school and they're good in college and they go, some of them get an opportunity to go to the pros, but when it's all said and done, they don't know what to do or what the rest of their life is about. So that information you just gave is super powerful. We really appreciate it here on the KnoItAllz.
Oh, no problem. And I had to also learn too, and this took time for me to learn. Track is something I do, or I did. It's not who I am. So you have to know who you are as a person and know, like people like, oh, you went to the Olympics. I'm like, yes, I did that. That was a great part of my life. But in the day, I identify myself now as I'm Damu, Aaliyah's mom. Like I'm somebody, I'm more than track. I'm more, it's not all of who makes me me. So that's why I tell a lot of people, I was like, yes, I did that, but get to know me on a personal level. Get to know like, what do you do on a day-to-day basis? Track is just something I did. It's not who I am. And I think that's where all of us get caught up as athletes. You think if you don't have that sport or that thing, you can't do it. And the biggest thing that taught me, Kevin, you were around when I ruptured my Achilles. I couldn't run for half a year, literally hurdling, trying to ignore the pain, running, boom, Achilles blown. Now reality sets in. You're like, wait a minute, it's time to think about something different.
Yeah. Similar experience. I have a daughter that was an athlete this year for her senior year in basketball. And 1 week before the senior year, you know, she's a 4-year captain. She's trucking down the court in a scrimmage, having probably the best scrimmage of her life. And, you know, turns on a pick, boom, you know, Achilles gone, ruptured in half, 17 stitches later, you know, basketball's over. And so now she's transitioning. So just like my daughter, there's a lot of those young ladies that played, you know, high school basketball and stuff, and they're going on and do college and stuff like that. But they just, basketball or sports has just been a huge part of their life for so long. And so I think that information is valuable, especially to a lot of young ladies that I'm around and, you know, work with.
Well, I don't think it's just young ladies. I think that's a lesson, a life lesson. She just gave you a life lesson. Yeah. What you do does not define you. You know, it's not who you are. You know, it's definitely you're more than that. And Tate, I know you have a question, man. Go ahead and you ask your question. Even though I know this is kinfolk, go ahead and ask your question.
Yeah, first I was gonna ask Big G, which one of your daughters, man?
Trinity, my baby daughter Trinity. Yeah.
Did she have the hops like you? Big G had the hops, man. Big G, to be honest, that joker was like 240 in high school, but he could jump.
You know, the crazy thing about that is he was just left-handed. He couldn't left-handed too. He couldn't. I'm blocking that. That was called up.
Miss Damu, that's called sibling rivalry. That's right there.
But I guess my question is more of a comment than a question, because like you said, Damu is kinfolk, so I've been around for a while, and you know I think the average person probably thinks that, you know, track and field is just every 4 years at the Olympic, because that's kind of when it's at its pinnacle, right? That's when we all watch, and that's when, you know, the prime time summer, you know, meets and events and stuff like that we're all watching for. But from being around and then being family, I've learned that track is year round. You know, it's all kind of stuff going on every, you know, all time of the year, whether it's indoor, outdoor, you know, all that stuff with track. And I was lucky enough, my wife and I, to travel with Damu and Dennis over to Qatar back in 2015. We spent almost a couple weeks over there because it was the Doha Diamond meet. Was that the one?
Yeah, they have that meet every year. It's one of my favorite meets, and I actually ran really well when I went there.
Yeah, so you know, so that's just the only comment I have. The track is really a year-round thing, and we see these athletes, or we think about them. They're in the front of our conscience, you know, every 4 years at the Olympics. But really, this is their career. This is going on all the time. I mean, and you know, I've like I said, I've been for, and the track. Another comment is the track circuit, the track world is really like a small family, right? I mean, like like Damu probably can tell you about, like you said, she met and knows Gail Devers, and that's that's her friend now. You know what I mean? I was at one of their events that Dennis had in Florida. It's been a while ago, but at that particular event, I met Allison Felix probably about 10 years ago. Wow. I've been over their house and met and hung out with Justin Gatlin at a cookout before. These are major gold medalist winning Olympians.
Yeah.
But the whole track world is kind of like a close-knit community, and just being around my people, I get to meet these people, and I just that's what I want to share, not so much a question. I mean, I guess we'll be getting into this year's games and what athletes they have competing and all that stuff here in just a second with my take.
Yeah, and definitely you right on time, Tate, man. Definitely want to switch gears. You had mentioned earlier that you were into gymnastics earlier in your life. So I know that and in a couple of conversations that we've had, you definitely fanned out over gymnastics where, I ain't gonna lie, I was just into Dominique Dawes. That's all I knew. Yeah. It's just a little, I had a problem as a child, but it was okay.
So you watched that Prince video with Diamonds and Pearls. I know you was all over that video.
Yeah, what had happened is I saw she was hanging out with Kobe, and hanging out with Kobe. I was like, she like urban dudes, so I might have a shot. But no, so you're into the gymnastics world. Basically, so I've seen a couple of things in the news. Like, I saw this comment that ESPN had up the other day, and it just blew my mind. It was about Simone Biles. What's your take on this? Where, Simone is saying that, because of how good her skill level is, that she's kind of being like railroaded on her scores because of the simple fact that it's like, hey, we trying to don't beat everybody so bad. Because she dog walked in this last competition. She dog walked them by like 5 points. That's ridiculous. You know what I mean? So what's your take on that? Like, explain to the world why 5 points is a big margin, and then explain to us, really what she meant by what she was saying.
I'm going to take you back to 2013 when she won the World Championships for the very first time. A lot of people don't remember. I watch gymnastics all the time. I studied the sport. Simone was falling all over the place. Literally, they were picking this other girl from 2012 or right after Gabby won. There was another girl they were shooting to be the next one. Her name is Caitlin. She's actually, her Florida team went viral. She's really good. But she had a lot of issues, and I guess she had to deal with that. And she actually beat Simone. And they were like, oh, she's the next one. She's the next one. And I remember telling everybody, I said, y'all, when this girl gets her head together, no one's going to beat her. And she was falling all over the place. And that was the year. I'm so sorry about my dogs. That was the year 2013 when Simone got her stuff together. I don't know what she did. I know she did get some counseling. I know she does see a therapist. She did say that many times. And that sports psychologist, whatever they're doing with her, is amazing, because after that, 2013, she hasn't lost a competition. So who does that? 2013 to now. In what sport?
In what sport?
Not Usain Bolt. He was one of those. But
that's 8 years. That's an 8-year run.
And it's gymnastics too at that. Yeah, she took a year off after 2016 and still came back and got better. So what happened with that was, remember, she started inventing skills called the bios, skills that no one can really physically do. And it all started in 2019 at the World Championships. She did a skill off the beam, a double twisting double back, which is incredibly hard. And they devalued the skill. And they said they didn't give her the points that she needed to do that skill. She was like, well, I'm not going to throw it. And then she was like, the only reason they're devaluing the skill because it's too dangerous. And we don't want other gymnasts trying this and hurting themselves. I was like, then on top of that,
the thing is, they don't have to try and do it then, right?
So they didn't give it the quota points that it deserved. I'm sorry, racism all day. Then when she started 2013, some of the gymnasts, the European gymnasts, I don't know the exact names, but I remember reading an article, and they were saying, oh, maybe if we paint our skin black, maybe we'll get high scores too. Excuse me? It was said out loud. So I was like, oh, y'all hating. So Simone, I'm so proud of her because I'm pretty sure it's more than we really realize what's going on. For her to stay as tough and strong as she has been is incredible because I know it has not been easy. And even remember, the sport was very rigid at first. They didn't want the gymnasts laughing and joking. They told Simone she played too much. They were like, you need to stop. And Simone's like, well, I'm going to be me. This is me. If I'm like this all day, I don't do well. She changed the whole dynamic. Now you see them having fun, not just her, everybody. She's a game changer. And that's why I admire her that she stuck to who she was and didn't give in. And not even beat them, she beat them bad. And it's more of like, it's like me winning a hurdle race and I'm 5 hurdles in front. So I'm leading by 50 meters.
Unbelievable.
Stuff used to be decided by thousands of a point, hundreds of a point.
Well, the second place was like what? It was like 1:14.06 to like 1:14.50 or something like it. I mean, it's minimal. Yeah. So I mean, it was. I think it was Sunisa Lee. Is that how you say her name?
Suni Lee.
Suni Lee. Yeah. From St. Paul, Minnesota.
She's good.
Yeah, from what I've been reading about her, she was. I mean, you know, she definitely doing her thing. 2019 World Championships, she won silver on the floor and bronze on the uneven bar. She doing her thing. You know, 3 medals. That's not bad. And then you know, of course, we got Jordan Childs, who was 3rd, and then they trained together. Jordan and Simone trained together at World Champion Center.
Ma, they you'll be happy to know they both train out of Texas too.
I was just
For her, you know that, right? Simone's parents built the gym. Simone's parents built that.
Ron and I think
they hired the coaches to come in and run the gym. So Simone created her own, like her parents. It's amazing. Her parents like, oh, we're gonna buy you a gym and we're just gonna bring these coaches in for you, and then we're gonna bring all these kids in and we're gonna create champions.
Great. Ron and Nellie Biles are the owners and her parents. And that's out of Spring, Texas. That's H-Town. That's the H. Throw up the H.
Happy, right? I get so tired of Texas every week, man.
You know what it is. And then Scott Blakely, she's out of Frisco, Texas. Another Texan, you know what I'm saying? In Woga Gymnastics.
He's at Woga with Nastia's family,
Yeah, the thing that blew my mind about this Woga thing, I was really checking this Woga thing out. Blew my mind. The coaches are former champions from the USSR, and they've won. It said that they've won more medals than the US by themselves as coaches.
Wow,
that was crazy.
Remember Carly Patterson? She was from that 1 in 04. Nastia Liukin in 08 won. Yeah.
That makes no sense. How your coaches won more medals than our country? That that's crazy. It's like, hey, when they say something, you better listen. And I just want I want to point this out, Big G. That happens right here in the great state of Texas, baby. You know what that is. You know what I'm saying? Courtesy of Ricky Bobby Inc. You know that's what that is.
Tate, you better tell him. Tate. You better let him know. It's OHIO.
Listen, man, listen. But no, seriously. So when we talking about gymnastics here, I want to make sure that first and foremost, I say something about B-Dirt. B-Dirt said, Damu dropping knowledge. She should be a permanent fixture. I mean, she's always welcome. Her card is punched here at the KnoItAllz podcast, so she can do what she do. Definitely she can get it in. But who do you got? Who's your money on outside of Simone? We know Simone is the Michael Jordan of the sport. So tell me who you got. Who you got running up second?
It's going to be between Suni and Jordan. Suni, honestly, in 2019 World, I don't know if you guys were watching, she was giving Simone a run for her money because Suni's starts value is not that far off Simone's. And she's the only one I've seen that has really tried to challenge her on the start value area. So Suni was actually in 2019, they were 1-2. And if she would have hit her routine, Simone still would have run, don't get me wrong. But it would have been super close. And that's why I like Suni, because she's not scared. She's like trying to beat Simone, like, which is great. That's what we need. And Jordan is right there. Jordan, but the US only can take 2 to the finals. So it's going to be between those three. I don't know. We got to watch and see who can handle the nerves.
Those three are competing for 2 spots?
Yeah, each country gets 2 gymnasts per country to compete in the all-around finals. So everybody can't go. So we got to see who does well throughout the team competition and who can be the sharpest and put those routines together.
Yeah, that's man, when you start thinking about that, that's a nerve-wracking thing. And that's something I wanted to talk to you about as well. Like, you train all this time for that one moment, for that 30 seconds, for that 12 seconds, that 15 seconds, that 10 seconds. Man, how important is it for you to have nothing on your plate, nothing on your mind, to just be blank when you go into these places and do what you've been trained to do? How important is that, to not have anything on your plate?
Well, from my experience, I'll tell you what I went through. My husband is such a great mental coach. He's like, if we ain't going to win, we ain't going. He says, we not going to just, it's not, oh, I made it to trials to qualify. He's like, no, I went into Olympic trials in 2008. I had the fastest time in the world. So when you going into the meet, it's like you need to be top in the world in our training group. I don't know how other people think. I'm not knocking what other people, disclaimer, I'm not knocking what other people think, but this is how Star Athletics thinks. If you are not ready to go and like you said, there's not 2 whole people that are going to beat me today, period, because they only take 3. So I run hurdles, like he said, excuse my language, ish happens, right? So he says, times if you hit a hurdle, whatever, indoors, I made a mistake. I hit the hurdle, fell, did not make the world indoor team. He said, and then what happened to me when I went into that final at Olympic trials, I'll never forget it. I was standing there and I was like, my hamstring actually was bothering me. And I told him in the warm-up area after the semifinal, I said, Dennis, my hamstring feels, I don't know. He says, well, you have a choice to make. Either you gonna run this race and pull, or you can not run and walk away. I said, we running in. I said, run till you pull. So I knew going into that final, I was not 100%, but I had trained so hard. I had been so fit and I had been so sharp that I knew muscle memory was going to kick in. So I was like, no matter what, Damu, you're going to run these hurdles and you're going to get it done. Honestly, I blacked out. I really don't remember much. The only thing I remember is I hit the 10th hurdle again, like what happened to me on the last hurdle indoors. I said, but this time I'm not going down. And I was pissed because I was in second because Lola was winning. I was like, me and her be battling. And I was like, she was way in front. And I was like, God, I gotta get back up there. And I remember trying to push the pace to get up there with her. I hit the hurdle. And then I was like, oh crap. And I remember hitting the hurdle and just like crossing the line. I was like, I know I made this team. It was like making the team was the only option. There was nothing else like that mattered to me. So I looked at the scoreboard and I saw I was second. I was actually angry that I didn't win because the goal was to go into the meet to win. And then I paused and I was like, girl, you going to the Olympics, you know? And it was just like, who cares you didn't win? You got second. Like, so it's just that you have to dial in that moment. Cause like he would tell us in practice and he was like, if you're sick today, come to practice. If it's raining, we're practicing unless it's lightning. If you're not feeling well, I don't care. If you're having an argument, and sometimes it's sad. If you have a family member, it's getting close to a major championship and there's an issue, you got to train. Because they're not going to, if you have to run at 2:21 p.m. on Sunday, July, whatever date that is, 2000, whatever it is, they're not going to be like, oh, Damu has an appointment. Oh, Damu needs 5 more minutes. Oh, we need 5 more minutes. So he would tell us and he would train us that way. So he'd be like, practice at 9. All right, we got it. We got a time trial. Let's go. No notice, no nothing. He's like, you got to be ready. So he prepared me, even though my hamstring wasn't all there. He just prepared me for that moment, no matter what was happening, what was in my way at that time, that you think nothing, but not 2 whole people going to beat me today, period. Like, it's not happening. And that's the mentality of it.
Yeah, hey, I like remember that whole season leading up to the Olympics. Like, you and Lolo had a special rivalry going on.
We was going at it because I would have to me and her was going at it, but it was good for both of us. I mean, it was good. It was good. We pushed each other.
And when we went to Qatar with you guys, I went to one of the nighttime practices with Dennis, and then it was Isaiah and Caitlin and a couple other you guys athletes at the time. And just to be standing there at the edge of the track, to be standing there, Ma and Big G, them jokers be moving.
Yeah.
Oh man, you ain't got to tell me, man.
I mean, I see it on TV. I see it on when some joker running on the football field. But to be standing on the edge of the track, and when them jokers run by you, you feel wind, bruh. Like for real.
Yeah.
You ain't got to tell me. I know it, man. Hey, big shout out to Cara J for watching from Australia. Appreciate you.
Oh wow, Australia.
Hey, Cara.
She said she's really enjoying hearing Damu's story.
Australia.
Yeah,
Hey.
man. Listen, when it comes to moving like that, man, once again, it's Texas, baby. That's what speed come from.
Hold on. You already had your Texas moment. Let's be clear. Florida and Texas, okay?
Don't say Florida and
Hey,
my Florida out.
Miss Damu said, let's be perfectly clear. Let's be
I'll give you
perfectly
Texas,
clear.
yes. But
to the
Florida,
girl, to
we
the
got
girl in the back.
NFL, we got NBA, we got track. Come on now. Don't
Well,
do
I mean, I'm gonna be honest with you. When it comes down to athletes, Florida, Georgia, Texas, California, you're gonna find them there. You're gonna find them there. Now,
We got LeBron James. We got LeBron.
Y'all do.
Okay, all right.
Y'all do.
I give you, even a blind squirrel find a nut every once in a while. I just want you to know. I mean, it is what it is. So, Damu,
I got one more question. I got one question.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
Can you walk me through? Because I just don't understand what I'm seeing when they're talking about this dismount that Simone Biles does that like nobody else can do. Like I went back and rewound it and watched it, and I was like, is that humanly possible for somebody to do the way that they're explaining it? And when she does it, it's like she's not even trying. So can you walk our viewers through like this dismount? Because this thing is supposed to be it's going to shut it down at the Olympics. Like when she does it, it's a wrap.
You mean the vault? You talking about the double pike vault or which
one?
Off
the vault. When she dismounts off the vault. Yeah.
Well, if you watch, there's a video Simone did. It's great. She explains it perfectly. It's a vault that only men attempt to do because if you do one wrong move, she said it, you can break your legs. Like it's that serious. If you land wrong, it literally, you have to be careful. So the fact that she's even throwing it or even attempting it, no woman has ever done it in the history of the sport because women don't have the power to do it. But she is, and one thing about Simone, people talk about her power, but one thing, she was trained very well. Her technique is impeccable. That's another thing. So you match that technique and talent, that's in any sport. It looks like she's not trying, but her technique is so amazing. Great form. She has the best air sense I've ever seen of anybody in the world. You have to know where you are.
Okay,
and
time out.
Go ahead.
Air sense. Tell us what you're giving us terms now. You got to break these terms down.
When you're in gymnastics and you're tumbling, one of the things that coaches teach you, you have to spot the ground. You have to know when you're landing, right? So if you notice when they're doing front tumbling, where they're tumbling and they're facing forward and they land forward, they'll say it's a blind landing. You have to train that because you have to feel the ground with your feet because you can't spot the ground before you land. And when I say spot the ground, I'm literally looking at the ground as I'm flipping, I tumble and I spot my floor so I know where my feet are going to land. So when you're doing something with the blind landing, you have like a front aerial on beam, which is like a flip in the air with no hands. They literally cannot see the beam. You have to feel it. And it's a training. It's the sense of feeling the beam. Like it's impeccable. Even with the dismount, the vault you're talking about, Simone, the air, she knows where she is upside down. Basically, that's air sense. She can flip 100 times and not get dizzy. Most of us get vertigo. And she will know where she's at. I've never seen.
Yeah. It's gonna be knee meat everywhere after I come down on one of them. It's over with. That's crazy. That's crazy.
You ain't flipping.
Yeah, into some water. I flip into some water. I ain't flipping nowhere else. I do a great flip into some water now. You don't get me started.
A lot of the young ladies that I talk to are so excited about that dismount. And that's why I brought it up because they're like, this is like impossible. Like a female can't do this. And there's like, she can do it and nobody else can do it. So
She's
That's
blessed.
Yeah.
She's just blessed with her talent, her technique. She's just born to do what she does. And she's also, I mean, the TV doesn't do it justice. The girl's this tall. I mean, because I saw her when we were at Nike in Rio, and I asked her.
Wait, hold on. You're 5'4". So how tall is she?
She's like 4'8", 4'9".
Oh wow!
I was a giant to her, and I was like,
wow.
oh my God! I said, I knew she was short, but till you see her, that's another asset. She's tiny. So it's amazing, and I was just like, she's tiny and she's strong, like just no fat.
You can see that. You can definitely see that. So, it's kind of switching gears a little bit, Damu. You haven't think about this. You've been at the Olympics before. You know what that's all about. Now, add in COVID. That's kind of changing the whole dynamic of what we're seeing here in the Olympics. And we just had Coco Gauff now, who's not going to compete in the Olympics because of COVID. And we had a couple of our basketball players under COVID protocol. So, I mean, how difficult? I know you would just be assuming, and assumptions is the lowest form of knowledge, but I'm just saying, you know, how difficult is this? Because in like for 5 weeks, they can't be around anybody. They have to shut themselves off from the world.
I can tell you what's going on. My husband's leaving. He has to go through the process now.
True. Okay, so tell us about that. Walk us through that.
Basically, he comes home, and I'm like, what are all these COVID tests for? They have apps. They have everything. They have to basically, he can't be around a lot of people. He has to, you know, he's had the vaccine, so he's okay, but you still got to be careful. And they have to get tested every day. I think starting tomorrow. I wasn't home this weekend. He may have already started. And he has to literally test. You do it on a Zoom call, and they have to do that every day. And then they basically, like at trials, they were tested almost every day at Olympic trials. That's why you saw nobody with mask on. Because if you tested positive, you had to go. Like, it was literally every day, and they're following that same procedure. So now what the athletes are missing on, where we would go to a training camp for 2 weeks before we would go to the Olympics. Now they're just leaving like them. They're leaving in time for their events. And they're not allowed out of the village. No one's allowed in the village. No spectators, no fans. So obviously I can't go. So he can go because he has 5 people competing. But it's sad because parents can't go. I'm just thinking about what if that was my daughter going.
Yeah.
I mean, it's changed.
And we talked the other day. I talked to Dennis last week, and he told us that, you know, they're not having the traditional Olympic opening ceremonies where all the athletes walk in with their country's flags and all that stuff. They're not doing that this year. So that's like a big opening kickoff to every Olympics, right?
Yeah, and an empty stadium. How weird is that? And that's usually the biggest crowd you ever run with, or swim with, or do gymnastics with. So everybody's going to be competing with no one in the stands. So honestly, the cool part about it, they train every day with no one in the stands, right? So they're going to have to feed off of each other's energy. For some athletes, I believe it's going to be an asset because some athletes freak out. Honestly, when you walk to that stadium, if you're not prepared, you freak out. So it may benefit those who may freak out, who have never been on the big stage before. Others, it may not do as good for them because they feed off of the crowd. So we'll see. It's going to be an interesting Olympics.
Yeah,
it's kind of like the bubble. When you thought about the bubble in the NBA that happened last year, you know, it was really different because, you know, of course, the crowd makes everybody go crazy. I mean, look at the difference it's made in this year's NBA finals. I mean, it's crazy. It's crazy to see that.
You talking about that Milwaukee pick I made about a week ago?
Yeah, no, I still I said it. I said Phoenix in 7. So the fact that I said Phoenix in 7, we still got one more game.
You said Phoenix and Big G said Phoenix. So at the end of the day, only one of us will be right.
Yeah, only one. Only one. They can, like Hollander, there could be only one. And I give you that. I would give you that. I admit when I'm wrong.
I want to ask Damu. So what athletes the Star Athletic have going to the Olympics, and then just give us maybe some of your takes on some of these track events of the people you know who you think are going to perform well and maybe win gold.
Well, we have Javian Oliver. She got second in the women's 100 meters at U.S. Olympic trials. We have Kenny Bednarik. He got second in the 200 meters at Olympic trials, and he's going in the 4x1 as well. And Javian will be running the 4x1 as well. We have Kaylin Whitney, who's running the 4x400 relay and the mixed relay, which is the first Olympics. They're holding a mixed relay.
For men and women?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, so that'll be fun.
Like two of each? Like two
Yeah,
men?
you'll see it.
Okay.
I'm just y'all haven't been watching World Championships. Side note, y'all need to go to World Championships in Eugene. First time being held on U.S. soil next year.
Oh, wow.
So anyway, I'm not done. I can't leave my other people out. We have.
I already got my invite. I don't know about y'all.
You said you go.
Wow. So that's how
I'm trying to skate. I'm trying to skate in. Let me skate in.
That's how we doing
I'll sit
it.
way at the top. It don't matter to me as long as I'm there. I just want to skate in.
I can't believe this. I can't believe this, Miss Damu. Look how Tate be doing this, man. Just throwing us out to the wolves. You don't care, man. You know what I'm saying? We supposed to be brothers.
Let me give you my other two. I'm missing two people. I can leave them off. Let me give you the other two. We have Canadian athletes as well. The Canadian champion, Aaron Brown, in the 100 and 200. And then we have Jerome Blake, who's running the 4x1 for Canada. And that's all.
Wow.
And my husband, who obviously three-time Olympian himself, and I was his first Olympian. He's taken Olympians. He's had Olympians every Olympics since then, since he's been coaching.
And then Dennis was the coach of the 2016 women's relay team, right?
The whole relays for the United States, he was.
The women got gold, though.
Yes.
Yeah.
The men, that's another conversation. They had a little hiccup.
I watched the tape on Dennis on YouTube the other day, and I did not realize how fast he was. Oh, my God. I mean, like he really, 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 really was fast. Like I didn't. Because during that era, I'm telling you, I got some bias about certain runners. There's certain dudes that I'm like, man. And then I went back and I saw that tape on Dennis. I was like, man, putting them down and picking them up for real.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, he was good. He was good, and honestly. He's a great athlete, but I believe not many athletes can transition from athlete to coach. So you can be good, but for him to be able to relay that information to these young athletes and they get it and they repeat it and do it, it's wild. It's wild. Yeah. So he's very good at what he does. He's a student of the sport. I will say that because sometimes I'll walk in, I'll be like, what are you doing? He's like, oh, I'm trying to get these workout cycles together. I'm watching video. I'm like, do your thing. I walk away.
Yeah. I strongly believe that coaching is the difference between great and elite. I think the gap between great and elite is coaching. That's why I strongly believe that. And so when you have a person that's not you, that's vested just as much as you are or more, man, you can't help but be great. So that's a good thing to hear.
So I have one more question.
I did. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No. I'm sorry. You go ahead.
No, I was saying I coached. I didn't tell you guys this, but I coached gymnastics before I got my Nike contract because I wasn't like I told you, I wasn't a star athlete. So I had to work and train for a while. And I had my girls that I coached, they were gymnasts, and I coached all the way up until I got my sign with Nike, and they held me accountable. Those kids were like, coach, if you better run your race. If you got us doing these routines and this and that. So those girls were like, they helped me be great. Because they would hold me accountable. They're like, we're going to watch the TV. And they would watch the meet. And they'd be like, you didn't win. They'd be like, you need to win. And I was just like, oh, my God. So I felt more pressure from my girls, which was good. I had like level 4, 5, and 6 gymnasts. And I coached at Brandy Johnson's Gymnastics, who was also a 88 Olympian. And we're really good friends. She helped me get through that transition where I could work and train. And she would let me take breaks if I was tired of standing because she understood what it took to get to that next level. So she was a pivotal part in my career as well.
This is kind of my last question on track, and then we just definitely I'll let you give your closing remarks here and just talk about anything that you would like to kind of highlight on the Olympics. But so you hear this term win aided when we're talking about running, right? This year in the great state of Texas, young high school kids ran a 9.9 in 100, 6A, ran a 9.9 in 100, and ended up being a 10.03, still fast for a high school kid. Jose Garcia is the one that did it.
Very fast.
Yeah, so when I'm thinking about that, explain to the people out there what that means when they say that it's win aided and why that's a thing.
Because a legal, basically they say legal wind. Legal wind is 2.0 meters per second. So the wind can't be greater than 2 miles an hour for it to count as a legal race. So like, for example, I've run some really fast hurdle times, but I had a 3.5 tailwind. So they're like, oh, you ran fast, that was good, but you had a 3.5 tailwind behind you. So we'll count it, but it's not going to count on the world lead list. It's not going to count as a record if it's a record. So the wind has to always be either 2.0 or under.
Wow, that's crazy. And I mean, honestly,
when they say headwind, think about it. Some of the races in the finals, they ran into a headwind.
Right.
So they ran into a negative 1.7. So think about it. You take that negative 1.7 wind you're running into, and then they still run fast.
Yeah.
They riding.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just about to ask. So does it work in your favor if you're running into it? So
No.
it works in your. It did. See.
I want you to try to run into when it's windy outside and try to run.
No, what I'm saying is do they take time off? Do they take time off because you're running into the wind? See,
no, that's why. And honestly, on an elite level, like in high school, you're like, oh, I feel bad for you. But on the elite level, it is what it is. Like we know like it is what it is. And they're not going to turn the race around for you because it's for TV. If the TV camera's already set up, TV takes precedence over everything on the elite level. High school, like they're like, we're not going to change these cameras. Sometimes they do, but sometimes they don't. But I remember a couple times I ran into a negative 4.0 headwind. Talk about I was tired.
If you run into a headwind, ain't no PRs or world records getting set that.
Like Dennis said, it's W's and L's. He goes today W's and L's. Like there was a race in London or England this past year. It was torrential downpour, headwind, everything. He told them, y'all, look, it's about W's and L's. We ain't here trying to break records today. Just stay safe and do what you got to do. If you got do what you got to do to win the race, try your best.
Right. Hey, I got another question, Ma, before you go ahead and let Damu close whatever she's gonna say, and it's kind of related to a close anyway. But I know, Damu, that you're in that transition part of your life where you're a wife and a mother and all those things right now. But I know recently that you were a guest analyst at a collegiate invitational for ESPN about a month or two ago. Like I know that was your first time. Is that something that you looking forward to venturing into and doing that kind of thing?
Yes, I was super scared. Like, honestly, when they called me, I was like, I never thought about it, but I have a newfound respect for commentating and analyzing. You have to do your homework. You got to do your due diligence, which I did, but I have a newfound respect because I know sometimes I'm guilty. I don't know about you guys. You'll yell at the TV, be like, why you say that? Why do you say that? You're going off of the paper that's in front of you and the facts that are given to you. And then there you have to create a storyline. So I have a newfound respect for analysts. Is it something I want to do? Yes, I do. I want to do it going forward. Maybe not all the time because one of the biggest things for me is being at home with my daughter. I can tend to her sports, and I don't want to take too much time away from her. And that's one of the reasons why I work from home now. I just really want to be a part of what her career holds. I don't know what's going to be, but we'll see. But yes, analyzing would be perfect.
I think athletes who are really competed at a high level in their sports normally, I say normally because I've heard some that are bumbling fools. You're like, what are you doing? But normally they're really good. Like Tony Romo, Cowboy quarterback, is really good. He's really good as an analyst. Now Troy Aikman, I can't stand. Which Troy would just not call any of the Cowboy games just because he's such a hater. But anyway, we're gonna move on. We're gonna move on.
Hey, but wait, in our defense, we don't have papers in front of us because we just know it all, right?
Right.
That's what we do.
We do what we do.
We do what we do. We know it all. But Damu, just some closing comments. What we should be looking out for in the Olympics, and just some things you want to lead the audience with.
And I want some predictions, at least for 2 or 3 races.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm calling DraftKings and putting some money down.
We disassociate ourselves from Tate at this moment in time.
Well, y'all crazy. Y'all are funny. Well, for me, excuse me, Star Athletics all day. I mean, honestly, like we finna come wreck shop, period. Like on all of our events. Talking about the women's 100, my girl Javian Oliver, don't sleep on her. And then you got Kenny Bednarik in that 200.
Yeah.
Be ready.
Does he have a brother?
Yes, he has a twin.
No, he has a twin brother. Okay, I thought that was right. I thought that was that guy that I was thinking about. Yes.
Yeah.
Is he in top 3 finish for Kenny?
We trying to win. What you talking about?
Oh, I'm just going bottom line.
We talking about number one.
Okay.
It ain't gonna be no walk in the park now.
Mr. Damu, I'm not being biased, but them Jamaicans is oh. I mean, I'm hoping and cheering and everything.
They don't have us. Mind you, Dennis coached Justin Gatlin to beat Usain Bolt.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
That's what that is.
Oh, yeah.
That's what that is, Big G. Oh, that's what that is, Big G. In other words, no, hold on. I'm talking that talk for Damu. Right. I'm just saying, I'm talking that talk for Damu since she won't say it. Bam, that's what it is, Big G.
Oh yeah,
Dennis studied it. He said they were planning for that race. I remember Dennis goes, they came close twice, and that one it took 3 times, but they got them.
That was in the World Championship, right?
2017 World Championships.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
But Justin actually in 2015 was beating him up until the last couple steps, and Justin stumbled, and Bolt got him.
Yeah. I remember.
And then is Justin going to the Olympics again, right?
No, he's not going. He didn't. He pulled up this time, but don't be surprised if he comes back. Don't be surprised.
He's been fast for a long time.
Man,
yeah. Oh my
that
God,
joker old as you, man.
He's been fast.
That joker old as you, man.
Well, you gotta give respect's due. He's a
oh yeah. So to be doing what he's doing at that age is incredible.
Incredible.
Yeah.
He has to be considered one of the all-time greatest Olympic sprinters ever. I mean, track sprinters ever for the USA.
Yeah, for sure.
I agree.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, definitely. What if the floors are yours? So you said watch out for
and
200
and other events. I mean, I really enjoy the women's hurdles, of course. I think the US is gonna sweep it again. We're gonna go top 3. Period.
Top 3. Name
last Olympics.
Name the 3. Just give me 3 names.
Kenny Harrison, Christina. Oh, it's Clemens now. Christina Clemens.
She's the one from USC, right?
He's the one that wore the Dorito earrings. No, Christina Clemens went to Ohio State. Kevin, you need to know this.
Oh, yeah. OHIO.
Y'all don't come on. Y'all supposed to know y'all people.
Oh,
but she good people. And then Kenny Harrison, she's the world record holder in the hurdles now. She's gonna medal. And then we have another girl, Gabby. She's young, but I believe she has the talent to do it, to pull it off, to get third.
And isn't there a girl from where I'm at in Waldorf, Maryland that made the team? Isn't she a hurdler?
Christina.
Oh, that's Christina. She's on Ohio State.
OH.
She's from here.
OH. Yeah.
She's from there, but she went to Ohio State.
Right. Okay.
And then of course in the relays, I'd be like the USA all day. And then Jamaica's going to give us run for money. I'm not knocking Jamaica at all. And then also I'm looking forward to the women's 400 hurdles. You know, Sydney McLaughlin and
she bad. She
First of all, who gonna run 400 meters jumping over some stuff? Man, I'll be done passed out after.
What's her time? What is her time?
51.9, the world record.
She just said
I can't run the 400 meters that fast. I can't run the 400 meters when I was at my prime. I know I can't do it now, but
she ran what again?
But Dalila Muhammad too. Remember, she had the world record. Whenever they race each other, world records happen. So Dalila broke the world record last Worlds. Sydney broke the world record this time around. I cannot wait to see what they're gonna do.
Hold on, I got a question. Well, let me comment on Valerie Terry Tate. We know who that is.
Hey, sister.
She just definitely wanted to say, great podcast. She appreciates you for coming in. Now, what was this time again?
51.9.
So let me tell y'all something, man. Listen, when we talking about the a 51, a great time in a quarter, and is a 40. You're talking about 40 when you're running 41s, 40s. You're flying. We flying over hurdles. This is hurdles. We talking about people jumping over stuff, running. Now that's hard. That is challenging, man. Listen, that is challenging. Is it high hurdles or just hurdles?
Their women's hurdles are all the way down for the 400 hurdles, but still, it's the lowest setting, 30 inches. It's about your waist. My waist. I don't know about your waist. My waist.
Rolling, man. Rolling.
She was McLaughlin.
Yeah, Sydney. Yeah.
She was a high schooler back in 2016.
And she was an Olympic team, yeah. But she didn't make it to the semifinals. So she's ready to come back this time and show them, look, I'm ready now.
Ooh, yeah, I watched that race. I guess it was at the trials when she set the world record.
Yep.
Yeah, man, she was flying.
That makes no sense to me.
And then you got
anyway, we're gonna shut up and we're gonna let Damu finish talking.
Oh, sorry. And then of course, like I said, we got our people in the 100, our guy Aaron, and 100 and in the 200, Aaron as well, Aaron Brown. I think another good race, honestly. We all sleep on these distance races. Honestly, I love I can't give you names. I just like the competition of the 1500 meters. Because you think about it, it's 3.5 laps around the track. They are riding, and then they sprint that last lap. It's just a fun race to watch. And I usually don't watch it till major championship, but it's a fun race to watch. And I like watching the women's 800, the men's 800. Mad respect for that because I'm not running 2 laps of anything. Maybe for a warm up, but I give respect for that race. And then also the men's 400 hurdles is going to be really good. There may be a world record go down there. Because you got some foreign athletes that are really good. I don't remember their exact names, but there's some. Put it this way, everything's going to be good.
They've
been amazing.
Who's the guy that ran the fastest time for the U.S. men this year?
In the 400 hurdles?
No, in the 100. I'm sorry.
Oh, Bromell. He's from St. Pete. He's from
Bromell. Yeah, Bromell. That dude's fast too, man.
Another story from him. The people that counted him out. He had Achilles injuries. He didn't think he was going to make it back.
Wow.
And he came back, and not only came back, but
what was the time?
I don't remember what he ran. I think did he run 9.9 or 9.8? I don't remember. It was
yeah. I think it might have been like a 9.89 if I remember what I saw.
Yeah, I can't remember.
That's rolling.
But he's been out for a few years with injuries, so I'm happy to see him back. I root for people. I mean, yes, I have our people that I'm going for, but I root for people with that drive that don't quit. I root for people that have been down. I root for people like myself who weren't the best coming out. And I root for people who are great, like Allison Felix. She's amazing.
Yeah. She's back, right? She's back in the 200?
No, the 400.
The 400.
Yeah, I don't think she made it in the 200.
No, she didn't. Hey, Ma, you was going to ask.
Oh, yeah, Gabby Thomas in the 200. The Harvard grad.
Oh, yeah, the Harvard grad. Yeah.
I know her coach Tanja. Tanja ran with Dennis. Tanja's a great coach too. So I'm rooting that women's 200 gonna be off the chain too.
Yeah.
Hey Ma, we talked about, you was gonna ask the question about some people talking about boycotting the Olympics for various reasons and stuff. You was gonna ask thoughts on that.
Well, so I mean, we've heard this narrative. That it's where, I'm around and I'm in the barbershops and, definitely you hear the rumblings, and there are people who are talking about boycotting and sitting this year's Olympics out. What would you say to someone who said, hey, I'm just going to sit this out because I don't feel like, one, we're getting a fair shake, and then two, running for the country? Why?
I get with everything that's going on and has gone on these past few years. I'm going to say for a few years. Things have happened, and a lot of uncomfortable things have happened. I've experienced them with some of my so-called friends, and it's been very challenging for everyone. But I think the one thing that does pull us all together, if you remember last year, there was no sports. We couldn't watch nothing. Yes, you had the bubble, the NBA or whatever. But for the most part, I was bored. I was like, I want to watch tennis. I'm like, dang, I want to watch golf, anything. And I told Dennis, I was like, I realize how much I love sports. I love seeing people the competition, the camaraderie, the back and forth, the rivalries, the stories, how people slept in their cars and then they made it, or people who just didn't have it and then they figured it out and they got it. We need to focus on that and take away, yes, our country's not perfect. Yes, it's not everything that we want it to be, but what is? Think about it. What is? So we have to find, like I do every day. And Kevin, you know this when I do my mornings that go, you have to find something positive. What is that one positive thing that you could find? And I try to do this every day. Even if I had a crappy day, I'm like, what is the one positive thing I can take out of it? So what is the one positive thing we can find from the Olympics? One thing about the Olympics that happens every 4 years, and it brings the whole wide world together, which is very difficult to do, period. So this is the one time where all these athletes get together. You get to see who's the best of the best. And then you can throw in the race card. Come on, we need you, us African American athletes. Because remember, there's a time when we couldn't compete in the Olympics. So the microaggressions we have now is minor, considering before we couldn't even go.
Right.
Yeah. We got Jesse Owens from the great Ohio State University.
Oh, here we go. Here we go, man. Every time we get to going, got to pull somebody from Ohio out behind. But okay. Anyway, we'll want to send shout outs.
Yes, ma'am. Absolutely. Great information. Great information. And very inspiring. Very inspiring. Yeah. Because people need to hear it from a person that's been there. They really need to hear that information.
Absolutely. And we got to support each other in everything we do. I mean, anything we're doing. I mean, it's just not just sports, just like vice president. Come on. I mean, history's being made. There's history being made, even with some people. This extra year gave them that drive or that extra energy to be able to show you how good they are. I heard a lot of athletes say, this extra year helped me. So support them, and not just support people. I'm a people person. Yes, we want to support Black people and African Americans. We need to support people. Love everybody, because everybody has a story. Everybody has a way that they got there in their journey, and we need to support just people. Love people for people. And if we all can get back to that, which I would love for the world to get back to that, it'd be a better place.
That's right, definitely. So I'm for real. After this, I got two things, and I'm gonna let you go because we've held you for a minute. I want to say what's up to Robert Cage and Lamar Thomas for definitely hanging out with us this whole time. What's up? Thank you guys for tuning in. Last thing, we talked about this a couple weeks ago when we first got on the phone in pre-show interview. And I want to get your thoughts because we've been talking about it for the last couple of weeks, and we talked about NIL, name, image, and likeness, happening for college athletes. And I thought that you had a real great take on it, and I want to make sure that we get that and allow people to hear that take. What do you think, and what is your thought process when it comes to name, image, and likeness, and kids getting paid for that in college now, and that decision that just happened?
I think it's great. It's about time. Because I think that a lot of athletes, like what they always say, strike when the iron's hot. Yeah. So it kind of forces athletes, maybe they may not want to go pro. Like a good example, our young athlete, she was 17 when she signed with Nike. But then when she signed with Nike, she had to let her college sports years go. You have a choice to make, and it's like, you better, like we say, strike while it's hot, because if you don't sign now, what if you get injured? What if this is not there later? What if this is not there? So they should be able to do that. And I think it's a great thing. And not just like major shoe companies, but maybe like say now you have YouTube stars, TikTok stars. Like it's a whole nother level of things that are going on now. And I think these athletes should be able to do that. The university's making millions of dollars already. So why can I make money off of me? It's me. It's me. It's me.
Right. Yeah. So we had All-American on last week, and we talked about this. And one of the things that he pointed out is the kids that actually support the sport, that come and, wanting to get their favorite athlete from their favorite college's autograph, and how, that's going to actually start to affect and impact that. What do you think about that? This last thought. What do you think about that? What do you think about the kids not really being able to get, autographs, because now it takes away from that person's, name, image, and likeness, and them getting paid for it? because kids could come and somebody could pose themselves as kids and be, hey, sign this, and now they're selling it. What do you think about that?
Oh, that's really interesting because I honestly never thought about that. That's interesting.
Yeah, he's a good kid. KJ's a good kid, and he threw it out there, and we all were like, "Wow, yeah, we ain't even thought about it."
You got me. I never thought about that. I don't know. Y'all got me quiet for the first time.
that is a first.
Kevin, you gonna get it after this. You gonna get it after this tape.
I honestly never thought about that. I don't see it as a problem, to be honest with you. But I don't see. I guess I don't know. Maybe I'm not that big. I don't see why does the autograph thing have to change? Is this when you're in like NFL maybe?
No, kids come to college games. I've seen it all the time at UT where kids will throw, shirts and food in the player's face and ask them to, sign it. But now, since I'm getting paid for my autograph, I'm getting paid for my name, image, and likeness. Now, it makes an athlete reluctant to do so, right?
Yeah.
And I mean,
that's disappointing, I honestly believe. But I'm not on the level like basketball. I know the American sports, I guess, because track is more of a European sport. So from our side of it, you walk out of the hotel, you get stuff in the mail and people want you to sign it. And they're coming to you at the meet and you're just signing it. We don't think like that. We just sign it. So that's why I don't really have any.
Track athletes now have to think about that in college. You have to think about it because everybody has the opportunity to get paid for their name, image, and likeness now.
I understand the point KJ brought up, and I completely think that it could be something. But I think when you're a collegiate athlete, and if a young person comes up to you and wants an autograph, to me, I feel like you just do it. You know what I mean? You don't worry about if they, because just like if a guy at the gas station or the grocery store outside the grocery store asks me for a couple dollars. They could be going to buy alcohol with it or do something nefarious with it, but I give it to them out of how I feel. Like it was on my heart to give this person this. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And I kind of feel like the athletes have to kind of take that perspective on it, that view on it. And a little kid come up to you, sign this for me, please, and go ahead and do it. And don't worry about what could have been lost with that particular autograph.
Yeah.
Right. But if you got a group of kids, I mean, so I can see it from both sides.
Yeah.
I think, definitely as a collegiate athlete, if you got this whole group of kids, how do you know it's still pure? You know what I'm saying? How do you know it's still pure? They make it, and this is like, a business for them now, Right. So, I mean, I can see it from both ways. I would personally, I agree with you. I agree with Damu. I'm signing it. It is what it is. But at the same time, I have been around these athletes in Texas, and I've sat here and watched this group of kids not just have one thing to sign, but they have a football, they have a helmet, they have a jersey. How do you know this is not a collector? You know what I'm saying? Sending a kid out there. How do you know that that's not happening, right? So now when you're getting paid for it and, you're just giving away money now.
Wow. That's something to think about. Wow. I never thought. I was just like thinking about the athletes getting paid. I never thought about all the other nuances with it.
Yeah, because collegiate athletics can be it's always been a dirty business.
Always.
Yeah.
Always.
Yeah.
But listen, Damu, we thank you for your time. I really do. I don't want to, let that go by and say, hey, we appreciate you for coming on and just sharing your time with us. You've been on here for an hour. You definitely dropped some jewels. Listen, if you want to come back, I want you to know you have a standing invitation. And unlike Tate, I'll invite you anywhere. See, Tate won't invite us nowhere. You know what I'm saying? He just going on his own thing. He get in the door and he shut the door on us.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. But if you like what you heard, make sure you like and subscribe. Just, on YouTube, we're there every Sunday. And then also you'll be able to catch us on Twitch at Modisms. And also we're live on Facebook, man. So we really appreciate you. kicking it and hanging out with us, Damu. And as always, man, we'll see you here next week with Big G Tape, and we out.
Thank you, guys.